Hey there, guys. Chet here. I want you to do something for me. If you use the automation tool Zapier, I want you to go find your last credit card statement and look for that line item. How much does it say? $50 a month? 100? Maybe even a few $100s? I remember when my Zapier bill hit a number that just made my stomach drop. I was paying a fortune for my automations and I felt like I was completely stuck. And look, let me be clear, Zapier is a fantastic tool. It is probably the most well known automation tool on the planet. It's easy to use and it gets the job done for a lot of people, but their pricing is designed to get more and more expensive as your business gets more and more successful. I reached a point where I felt like I was being punished for growing. Today, I want to tell you the story of how I broke free from that cycle. This video is called Stop Paying for Zapier, and I'm going to show you the powerful alternative that I switched to that cost me next to nothing. It is called N8N, and it's completely changed my business. And so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I've put a link to the tool that saved me all this money, N8N, right down there in the description. There's also a link to their official website and one for my own simple setup tutorial. Now, my story probably sounds very familiar to you, to a lot of you. I started my journey with Zapier's free plan. It was great. I built a few simple automations, which they call Zaps, to connect to a couple of my apps. But I very quickly hit the limits of that free plan. My Zaps needed more than 2 steps, or I needed to connect to what they call a premium app. So I did what everyone does, pulled out my credit card and upgraded to a paid plan. And it was fine for a while, but as my business grew, I started automating more and more things. This meant that my Zaps were running more often, and I started hitting my monthly task limit. So I had to upgrade my plan again and then again. Every single time my business had a good month, Zapier was right there, ready to take a bigger piece of the pie. It honestly felt like I was being taxed for my own success. The problem is that you pay for every single time a Zap runs. If you have a popular website, a simple task like adding a new subscriber to your email list could run thousands of times every month and end up costing you a huge chunk of money. I finally got to a point where I just couldn't justify the cost anymore. I knew there had to be another way. So I started looking for alternatives, specifically for something that would not penalize me every time my business grew. I was looking for financial freedom. That's when I stumbled upon N8N. The first thing I read about it completely blew my mind. It was a type of software called open source, and you could host it yourself. I was a little nervous at first because that sounded way too technical. But then I saw the price. The software itself was free. Yeah, it was completely free. This is the first and the biggest reason that you should consider stopping paying for Zapier. With N8N, I learned how to set it up on a small online server. That server cost me just a few dollars every month. That's it. That is my entire bill. My cost is the same whether my automations run 100 times or 100,000 times. The huge, stressful, and unpredictable Zapier bill was replaced by a tiny, predictable server cost. The amount of money I saved was incredible. It honestly felt like I'd given my business a huge raise overnight. But after I switched because of the money, I started realizing that I had gained so much more. It was not that I was just saving money. I was now using a much more powerful and flexible tool. For example, in Zapier, if you want to build a workflow that has complex rules, it can get very messy. You often have to build multiple Zaps and then try to chain them together, which costs you even more tasks. It just feels clunky. In N8N, you can build all of that complex logic in a single, very clean workflow. You can have multiple branches for different outcomes. You can handle errors exactly how you want, and it just feels so much more organized. I also discovered something called the code node. This was my secret weapon. It meant that if I ever ran into a unique problem, I could write 1 or 2 lines of simple code to solve that problem instantly. I felt like I had graduated from a simple calculator to a powerful computer. Now, I know that moving from the simple point and click world of Zapier to a tool that has this much power can feel like a rather large leap. You might see the interface and worry that it looks too complicated. That's totally normal. It's a completely normal feeling, and I want to help you with that. Inside of my school community, I have a complete course designed to take you from beginner to an N8N Pro. I'll show you how to build these powerful multi-step workflows, and we even have live calls where you can ask me anything. If you are ready to graduate to a more powerful tool, I can guide you through it. The link is down below. Now, the last major benefit that I discovered was about privacy and control. When I was using Zapier, all of my business data and my app connections were passing through their servers. I had to trust their security. With my own N8N setup, everything stayed on my server. It was my data under my control. This gave me incredible peace of mind. So I stopped paying for Zapier, not just to save money, even though I saved a lot of money. I switched because I found a tool that was more powerful, more flexible, and gave me more control over my own business. Don't get me wrong, Zapier is a great place, a fantastic place to learn the basics of automation. But N8N is the tool that you graduate to when you are ready to build without limits and without a giant monthly bill. All right, that's the end of this video. I hope that my story has inspired you to at least check out the alternative and see what is possible. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.